Hello, everyone. Back for episode 2 of my summary and opinions. The show I'm going to be talking about is called Outlast. It's on Netflix, and I looked it up. There's 8 episodes. Um, Specifically, it's called Outlast Jungle. So it's in the jungles of Panama, I think. Um, so yeah, let's get started. So I think there's a cliffhanger on the last episode. So the Team Alpha and uh, Team Alpha and Team Bravo were talking about trading ferro rods for a bow, and of course Team Bravo is not going to give away a ferro rod. That's like the most important thing in the game because without ferro rods you can't get fire unless you do a friction fire, which is too difficult. As you can see from this episode too, like it was very difficult for them to get a friction fire going. They didn't even get one at all this episode. So obviously, um, obviously, Team Bravo's not giving them a ferro rod for a bow, but uh, they did suggest a new a different way to do things. So they decided that if they bring their, because the reason why they wanted the ferro rods to start a fire was because they they pierced a seagull and they wanted to eat it. So um, obviously they suggested that they bring the seagull to them, cook it at their fire, Bravo's fire, and they share it with each other, Team Alpha and Team Bravo. And uh, Maddie, I think that's her name, the hunter girl, she decides that, well, I think her and Ben kind of like decided without talking, but they were like, we're not gonna do that. Just they stick with this. They stuck with the first trade, which is a bow for a fair rod, and they were like being all weird about it and stuff like that. But that's where the episode starts, and because they started going back and forth about it, so Maddie was like saying, when they cut to people talking about the situation, she's like, she calls Maddie egotistical. I was like, damn. I don't know if I agree with her. Like, it's because for me the trade, like just let them cook the seagull and split it between them. I think that was like a good resolution, but they didn't want to do it. They really wanted a fair rod. So I don't know. I guess Morgan is just not really fond of women that much. Um, so later on, they just go back to camp and they're like, "Oh no, we didn't get rods." So then, like, I don't know how long, but after a while, um, a package is parachuted down from like a helicopter, I think, a helicopter, and all the teams go to. I think there's one for each team, and each team's open the package from the parachute, and they get a note saying that they need to send 2 people to us to the area where a smoke is gonna billow. Um, so they all decide. Team Delta decided Braxton and Brett. Team Bravo decided Abby and Pharaoh, and Team Alpha decided Ben and Dave. I think that was the 2 dudes on Team Alpha went, and what they find is a bunch of resources and a pig, on a pig on like that's like rotating around, like it wasn't rotating, but like when you put a pig, like what they do in Hawaii, they put a pig and put it straight through uh, a wooden pole or something, a wooden branch, and like all of that is there, and there's a note there, and they all see it, and then it tells them that this is Team Delta's camp, and they have to decide because a maximum of 5 people can be in Team Delta, so they have to decide who's gonna leave or if they're gonna stay at all. So they're like going, everybody's splitting off, talking to each other. Each team from each team, the 2 people from each team just split off and start talking to each other. And then Ben eventually came to a resolution. Like he came up with an idea saying that if they all just walk away from T Delta camp, nobody makes the team, and they all in turn have respect for each other and give each other uh, one of each resources. Team Alpha would give a bow to the other 2 teams. Team Bravo would give a fair rod to both the other 2 teams, and Team Delta would give give 2 tarps, one for the other 2 teams. Um, so when they were talking, Braxton and Brett were like, "We have to take this. That pig looks delicious. Like they're gonna be set for the whole game because there was fair rods, bows, like all the resources that each team had was at Team Delta camp." So um, they were like going back and forth, and then Ben was like, um, "It's just gonna be the 2 of them," because everybody else was decided that they were gonna leave. They were like, "We want to stay with our teams and all that." Braxton and Brett were like, "Oh man," because if it's just the 2 of them, all it takes is one of them to get out for their team to disband, and they have to join another team. So it doesn't make sense for Braxton and Brett to stay there. So they all decide to walk away from it, which is okay. But the main thing was like team chemistry is important because if 5 of them stayed there, they don't know each other. They were with their respective teams the whole match, so like, and then when they interact with the other teams, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you guys betrayed us" and all that, and then they're gonna be the odd ones out, and there's gonna be no chemistry because they don't know each other, um, and they have no idea how they're gonna meld with each other. So it's just team chemistry, which is why they didn't do that. But I'm gonna get to a second. The bad thing that happened right after. So after that, Ben and Dave went back to Team Alpha, and the other people went back to their teams. And Team Alpha was like, "Yeah, yeah," because they were struggling. They were really struggling because they didn't have fire, they didn't have shelter, they were in the rain a lot. They weren't able to cook their food because they weren't able to trade for the bear rod. So then they were obviously like, this is big news. Like they went right into it. They were too gullible or too trusting in the other teams because soon after the other 2 teams were like, we're not giving you anything. So yeah, that was crazy. Team Delta didn't even show up. Cause yeah, ferro rods are very important in the game. All right, my mic ran out of batteries again. So so after all that, you see Team Bravo and what they're doing, and it cuts to Abby, and we hear a monologue from her backstory and all that, and I wonder if she was really strategizing the whole game because you don't really get to see her. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really see her strategy the whole game. But did she strategize her way to the end? Like, I don't know. And then it cuts to Team Delta, and Wes is obviously taking the leadership role, and he's like, "We're not giving the tarps and all that." And eventually, you get to see Wes um, at night with everybody there, uh, and he's arguing with Sarah, and he's finally calling her out on the name calling that Sarah's been doing, her bossiness and her blabbering and all that. Like, what is she? I think she called him. No, she called him muscles before. I forgot what she called him, but she called him like all different kinds of names, like making fun. She probably didn't mean it and making fun, but she kind of did make fun of like how he's big and tall, and you know he's like a football player, I think. So yeah, and then everybody starts telling her to just stop, stop being so crazy and talking too much and all that. So so eventually, it. I do want to mention that they do foreshadow about Sean falling in the fire, and it does happen this episode, which was very scary to see. But yeah, Morgan does mention before that uh, she's afraid that he's overexerting himself because he was taking a leadership role and he was like the glue holding everyone together, and he was like doing a lot of work and stuff like that. So so yeah, that was a scary way to end the episode, but it does. But Sarah tries to redeem herself in the episode by trying to catch a black lizard, and she fails. So yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen to her later on in the show. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.